It is a wonderful and precious chance for me to be your Master of Ceremony on Saturday, 7th of November 2020 in our big event, ISDC, English Speech Competition 2020. First of all, let's say thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has been giving us guidance, happiness, healthy, and blessing, so we can attend and participate in this event without any obstacle. Praise and salutation upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the last messenger, the best figure of this universe, and the person who was able to save us from Jahiliyah era. And I would like to say thank you to our media partner, RTC UEFM and UNAS TV. And this event will be divided into 5 agenda, so allow me to read several sequences of our agenda. The first one is opening. The second agenda is introducing the adjudicators. The third agenda is order of speech and technical rules explanation. And the last one is the competition itself and following with the closing. Well, to take advantage of the time, let's start this agenda by reciting Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's keep on the next agenda, that is introducing the adjudicators. Mr. Maudi Ma'adil, most outstanding delegates of International Islamic Young Leaders Summit 2019. Mr. Dario Abdullah Kamal, Advisory Board Member of African Union. Ms. Astrid Nadia Rizkita, Secretary General OIC Youth Indonesia. Ordering of speech. Ganis Alfiani Yubastian, Syafa Nandita Deva Nuranti, Mutiara Sani Inayah, Alfi Syahri, and Lubab Hood. Now, let's continue to the main agenda, that is, I will read the rules and regulation of the competition. And for all the finalists, please pay attention to me because I will read the rules and regulation for this competition. Number 1, finalists are required to wear a neat and polished shirt. Number 2, the finalists will present the title of speech that has been specified at the time of technical meeting. Number 3, when delivering speech, finalists are required to turn on the camera with a good resolution. Number 4, finalists are expected to set up a stable internet network. Number 5, each finalist has 5 until 7 minutes to deliver speeches and continue question and answer session from the jury with a duration 2 until 3 minutes. Number 6, if the finalist has a bad connection, it will be compensated 2 minutes to reconnect the network. And the last, if it is past the compensation time given, then the time will be deducted from the portion of the speech delivery time. So, let's move to our main agenda. It is the English speech competition. And the first contestant is Ganis Alfiani Bastian from Airlangga University with the title Global Ummah Against COVID-19. Ganis Alfiani, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All praise to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that has given us mercies and blessings, the one who creates the world to all the mankind. Salawat and salam may be upon the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that has guided us from the darkness to the brightness. My dear audience, my name is Ganis Alfiani Yubastian, and today's topic is about struggling in the middle of pandemic. So, Global Ummah against COVID-19. My dear audience, as we know, coronavirus disease or COVID-19 having the death caused, so that we are facing the same problem. I mean, we are all facing the same problem, like American, also Australian, also Indian, and we are Indonesian, and even, as you know, that Palestinian. We are all facing the same problem right now because COVID-19 can cause a death for us. And as you know, that this virus is not only affected our health condition, but it is also affected our other fields that in our country. For example, it is affected our education system, it is affected our social economic, it's also politic and also policies. The thing I want to say, we are all is in a crisis situation, my dear brothers and sisters. And as an independent country like we are Indonesian, we are facing and we have to face how to optimize our education system, how to optimize our social economic system, how to optimize our politics system without worry about being under occupation of other country. Obviously, I'm going to bring this speech to something that we already know, something to somewhere in some place where you already know that they are having several issues and they are being under occupation and under control of other party. We know is it means that they have to fight for their nation and also they have to fight for their life during this pandemic. And you already know where is it? Palestine, my dear brothers and sisters. And the Prophet Muhammad SAW said that we are none of us will truly believe in Allah and His religion until we love our brothers and we love our sisters as we love ourselves, my dear brothers and sisters. So now look at our brothers and sisters that facing the same problem as what we are facing right now. We are facing pandemic. We are fighting against COVID-19. And look at what our brothers and sisters. Look at our Palestinian brothers and sisters. What are they doing right now? What is their condition right now during this pandemic? They don't have adequate beds at hospitals. They have poor social, economic, and living conditions. They also have deteriorated water, sanitary, and also uh, water sanitary, and also the hygiene. They are lack of it, my brother and sister. The point I want to say is they are fighting freedom for their nation and they also fight for their life during this pandemic, and it means that they really need our help. That is the point, my dear brothers and sisters. But I want to say something that we can see our Palestinian youth, they are will not stop fighting until the end. They will not stop fighting just because of the pandemic, because they have to fight for their nation against the authority right now, like that. I mean, like they will not stop. For for the proof, I can show you that I ever read an article that showed Palestinian youth have made some innovation, just like they made an application in mobile smartphone like that. This application can detect a water section about in water sector, that it can detect issues about water in around the users of the applications, I mean, and it can like the citizens or the user who use the application can notify the local authority so that the local authority will have like will help them with the water problem. I mean, like they make this good kind of innovation and it's really helpful in this pandemic era, in this COVID-19 situation. Like we cannot uh, have relation with other people, interaction, direct interaction. So using this application, this Palestinian youth can break the thing, and that's the point. I mean, like they already show us they are ready to face the new challenge, to face the reality that they already have, my dear brothers and sisters. But then I realized something. I'm a Muslim. I'm part of young generation. So what I can do to help our brothers and sisters in Palestinian? What we can do? I mean, we have to do something right now. So, in my opinion, it is already the time for us to use the and to take the advantage of technology. I mean, like we are millennials, so we can use the technology. I can give you an example about what we can do to help our brothers and sisters. So, I'm going to make something like this. Hello, my brothers and sisters. So, my name is Ganis. I'm a Muslim, and right now I am talking about Palestinians. So, as we know, our brothers and sisters, my right now we are facing the same problem. Like we are facing pandemic, this pandemic era. So, we have to help our brothers and sisters there. So I want us to make awareness, to share our awareness, and this is some Instagram account that we can you can visit and you can make a donation through that. So let's help each other. Okay? Thank you. We can make a video or we can share it on social media. So, my dear brothers and sister, I think that's all from me. The point I want to say is we have to love each other as we love ourselves. I think that's all I can say. Thank you for your nice attention and don't forget to be happy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for your speech, Ganis, and please the judges give assessment to the first contestant with the scoring form that have been provided. The duration time is 5 minutes from now. Okay, or all the judges have done?
Yes, you're done.
Uh, from my end, yes. I'm done.
Okay, the scoring time is up, and the next is question and answer session, and namely, one of the three judges have one question based on their speech.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, Ganis.
Waalaikumsalam, sir.
Okay. It's actually interesting to know and to hear, as young as you are, and you come up with that kind of idea to share with the people outside of your community, outside of your country. Now, my question is that, how are you going to differentiate the, um, you know, the misinformation, because there's a lot of misinformation right now, right? It's like all over the world, people using that. Now, how are you going to counter or to identify, just uh, to identify what is good news, reliable, and not? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question, and I want to answer it. So the question is about how could I differentiate between the good news or the fake one? Am I correct, sir?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you. So for me, we can use the first one is social media, but we realize all of us that there are plenty of hoax stuff like the fake news. It's plenty of that, and we have to be smart as we can. I mean, like this is so smartphone, this is so smart, and we have to use it as smart as we can. Like we have to know which one is the real one, which one is not the real one. And I have my tips and trick for me and for maybe for my friends here all to find the good news. I mean the real news that happened is by following like account, social media account that is the real one. I mean, for example, like CNN or BBC or something like that. For me, that is already I can find some real news there. And also, if we want to find the real news, if it is published by several account. I mean, like several news also have the same information that it can indicate that the news is already the real one. So we have to use the internet wisely also, and we have just don't take any news just like that without find out is it the real one or not. Just I think that's for me, sir. Thank you for the question.
Right. Thank you so much also.
Okay, we're gonna move to the next finalist, Shafa Nandita Devanuranti from State Islamic University, Sharif Hidayatullah, Jakarta, with title Muslim Youth United Against Extremes. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, judges, the committee, and the participants. First of all, praise the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the merciful God, for let us gather for ISDC final speech competition. Even though we can't contact directly, but I hope we all in a good condition. Secondly, salawat and salam greetings remains for the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has been fighting for Islam and guide us from the dark place into the brighter place. Imagine living in a peaceful and no hatred world. Imagine when you can walk gratefully because there is no dispersed. Or imagine when you don't have to be afraid from stranger. I know the exact first word that pops up in your mind is impossible. It only will be implemented if there's no differences specifically, if we all have same race, same religion, same ideology, same perspective. But then, why don't we turn all of those distinctions into respect each other so we all united in diversity instead of forced the diversity must be the same. My name is Shafananita Rivanunanti. I'm a freshman student at International Relations in Sharif Hidayatullah, Jakarta, and this speech will be talk about Muslim Youth United Against Extremism. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know how is it feel being very into on certain group. For example, student council, society organization, you can pick a name. We also praise the group because we really feel attached to this group. And this feeling also give a biased perspective and give a gray line between the good and bad. And it will lead us from being an extremist. Islamic extremists, like on Palestine, have exaggerated feeling which lead them into the wrong path from the Islamic lesson itself. They overviewing something as the black one and the white one, which the white one is the only acceptable perspective and the black one should be vanished. They also feel like living in a simple world is no need to compromise other perspectives. Adam Dean, former Islamic extremist, said that before he chose to be an extremist, he was curious about Islam, but he ended up into the wrong ears. See, this is the root of the problem: curiosity without guidance. He also explained that the extremists have a particular mindset, which surprises me because they really think that they're serving a god. This is irony. Allah doesn't even need our service, and they use that name to harm others. One of the common factors getting a man being extremist is because they have no meaning of life. Like for example, the former Islamic extremist from England said that after he joined the group, he eventually find the meaning of life. It mostly began when they're young because they're still figuring out the sense and the purpose of our life, and it will simply trap us into the wrong group. Well then, questions pops up. Is it possible for Muslim youth contribute against extremism? Aren't they have a big allies? Let me answer the first one. Yes, it is 100% possible. Youth is the root to solve this problem. The first factor is what kind of environment that the youth live in. Is the mindset built from the peer group or the heritage mindset from the family? So then, in order to prevent the extremism, we as youth need to conduct frequently open discussion. There will be transferring knowledge, and it will prevent us from stuck into our perspective only. Youth need to find the truth, not seeking for justification. These are two different points. But we can fight in a good way against extremism if we still want respect slightly different from Islam lesson. And we can't normalize Islamic organization who diminish and discriminate minority. Ladies and gentlemen, it might impossible for us to change the ideology of elder people. They might won't believe us, but we still have a chance to teach our kids about respectful, open-minded, and striving to unite in diversity. We also have to ensure our kids amidst a good environment. Second question, are they have a big allies? Yes, absolutely. See Israel. But we do have to, if we, as Muslim youth, stick together to echoing the peace purpose of Islam. So we can erase the stereotype that all Muslim is terrorists. Islam is a mercy and peace. If you see it opposite cruelty, then you know that is not Islam. Quotes by Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah. I think that's all for my speech. I'm sorry if there are any mistakes, and I hope you can take the positive from my speech. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Shafa. And for the judges, please give the assessment to the first contestant with two scoring form that have been provided. The duration time is 5 minutes. I'm sorry for the judges. Is the finalist is audible? Or all the judges have done to fill the form?
Yes, mine.
Okay.
Yes, we're done.
Okay. The scoring time is up. And the next is Q&A session. Namely, one of three judges have one question based on Shafa speech. Time's yours.
Thank you for giving us the floor. And thank you for the speech, Shafa, regarding United Against Extremism. You know, with the recent situation about Islamophobia in Europe, for example, and also the various discourse that has been raised in our society, it's interesting to discuss about this again. My question is, regarding Islamophobia and extremism, it's easy to spot that we're Muslims and it's us against them, that kind of narrative. But what about addressing the diversity in the Muslim societies? Because Muslims are 1.9 billion people, and we're the one of the largest growing religions in the world. And how do you address issues of extremism within the Muslim society in terms of the diversity of Muslims, on how they pray, the culture and all that? Because in your speech you also mentioned about Adam Dean, and I think, how do you address about that from your perspective? Muslims to Muslims, not Muslims against not Muslims. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question, adjudicator. So, in my perspective, the first step that we need to do is to solve to solve the issue that we can't respect the diversity from our religion. Like we really have to respect, and we can't, and um, we have to respect other perspective by not judging how they pray, how they pray, how they take in holy water or anything. And like what I said before, it is really important for us to open discussion, to transfer knowledge each other, because from there we know that there are a lot of perspective and there are a lot of point of view that we don't that we don't have known yet. And from that we can respect, we can respect Muslim, and then we can echoing this issue about the extremists to another, because I think abroad, people abroad think that we are as Muslim are terrorists, because what they see in the news, they see we as brutal, we as an evil. But if we have and if we use social media, if we provide our our real essence of Muslim, that the essence of Muslim is peaceful and mercy, it will change their mindset that all Muslim is not terrorists, and we have a peace purpose. I think that's all my answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Astrid and Shafa. And we're gonna move to third finalist, Mutiara Sani Inayah from SMAN 3 Malang, with the title Rise of Islamophobia. Time is yours.
Is my screen seen? Because I cannot see myself. Oh, okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, these days Muslims all over the world are standing up a protest against Emmanuel Macron, the president of France. On October 16, 2020, when an 18-year-old second refugee in France beheaded school teacher Samuel Paty, 47 years old, days after he had shown caricatures of Prophet Muhammad to his students, President Macron said, "We will continue, we will defend the freedom that you thought so well, and we will bring secularism." He said that France would not give up cartoons, drawings, even if others back down. If Macron did not support the Charlie Hebdo magazines that showed inappropriate Prophet Muhammad's caricature, that killing would not happen. What he did was humiliating our Prophet, Islam, and also Muslims. And the fact, President Macron said that it is the form of freedom's expressions. Days before Paty's killing, Macron had made a controversial speech. He declared that Islam is a religion that is in crisis today all over the world, plagued by radical temptation and by yearning for a reinvented jihad, which is the destruction of the other, negation of our principles, equality between woman and man, human dignity. What Macron did is the form of Islamophobia. Why? Islamophobia is the fear, hatred of, or prejudice against the Islamic religion or Muslims generally. The term Islamophobia already increasing as a result of the September 11 attacks, the rise of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, and other terror attacks in Europe and the United States by Islamic extremists. Even the September 11 attacks were still a mystery because, as all we know, America has superpower security, but it can be broken. Many people suspect that this was just a pretext to attack terrorists and corner Islam. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, United States, Israel, and West countries spread issues that triggered Islamophobia. Masoud Sajjareh, chairman of the Islamic Human Rights Commission, while hinting the escalation of Islamophobia in the West, said that Zionists who realized that the majority of Muslims support the Palestinian nation plan to present a violent, bloodthirsty, anti-Muslim image. Sajjareh added, Zionists through this approach plan to minimize the condemnation of international public opinion when they massacre Muslims. The issues made people all over the world consider Muslims as terrorists. The people that hate Muslims, like as we know, the Islamophobia term is more widespread these days. That's why no empathy for our brothers and sisters in Palestine. They thought that helping the Palestinians means helping the Muslims. And helping the Muslims means helping terrorists. Brothers and sisters, reverends, what actually happened in Palestine is that the Israeli oppressed the Palestinians. They expelled the Palestinians from their own land. The Palestinians have no right in their own land. The Palestinians have no freedom in their own land. The Palestinians have no choice in their own land. But the world remains quiet. The fact that Israel's annexation keeps expanding throughout all Palestinian land. As a result, Donald Trump, the US president, did transfer the US embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem on 4th of May 2018, after he declared Jerusalem as the capital city of Israel on December 6, 2017. The transfer of the United States Embassy from Tel Aviv to Beit el-Maqdis was followed by the sadistic killing of Palestinians, the original owners of Palestinian land. A total of 58 Palestinians, including 6 children and adolescents under the age of 18, died in the brutal massacre, and 2,700 others were injured. But the doer, Israel, with the help of Trump, are never called as terrorists. How ridiculous! At the contrary, wearing a veil or hijab is regarded as a crime in some countries. Hijabs are banned in many countries. Muslim forbidden to fly to USA. Man who has fled is called as terrorist. Yes, that is Islamophobia. Brothers and sisters, the fact that the Islamophobia term is rising day by day. So, how to deal with it? As Muslims, we must be as our Prophet had told us. We must spread kindness to all the people around us. We must bring peace wherever we are. And we must behave as what Allah says in the Holy Quran. I am Muslim. Islam is perfect, but I am not. If I make a mistake, blame it on me, not on my religion. Because terrorism has no religion, and it all comes to equality. Nobody should be discriminated because he or she is a Muslim. Discrimination is wrong. The Palestinians should not be discriminated for who they are. The Palestinians are human and deserve the human rights. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, don't let fear cause people are afraid to know each other. Don't let prejudice cause people are suspicious to each other. Don't let hatred cause suffering for others. Don't let Islamophobia cover people's heart to help, to defend, and to protect Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mutiara, for your speech. So, please the judges give assessment to the first contestant with 2 scoring form that have been provided. The duration time is 3 minutes from now. Or all the judges have done to fill the form?
Yes, done here.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Yes, we're done.
Okay, let's move to the Q&A session. Namely, one of three judges have one question based on Mutiara's speech. Time is yours.
Can I go on? Can I?
Yes, you can, Mr.
Okay. Do I need to turn on my camera? Is it fine? Okay. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and to the finalists. So, my question to the candidate, actually interesting. It is also in line to the previous um, like candidate. Now, let me go directly to my question. What do you think governments get wrong when they develop policies and end up worsening Islamophobia instead of addressing it? Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I can't hear it clearly. Can you repeat it,
Okay,
please?
sure. Yeah. Um, what do you think governments get wrong when they develop policies and end up worsening the Islamophobia instead of addressing it? You get it right?
I
Okay.
cannot understand. Yes, I cannot hear it.
Okay. So I think I'll just can I ask permission from the moderator to post the question? I can write it in the chat box. Can I, moderator?
Yes, you can, sir.
Okay. So that's my question. Uh, Mutiara, Miss Mutiara, is it okay?
I can't see it, sir.
Can you see my? Okay, thank you. So,
There is no in the chat box, sir.
oh, really? Hold on. Um, sorry. I think I. Here's. Oh, there you go. You, you get it? Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I would answer your question, sir. Thank you for the time. So I think what the question is, what do you think governments get wrong when they develop policies and end up worsening Islamophobia instead of addressing it? I think that some governments, when they develop policies, when they they develop policies and are worsening Islamophobia, sometimes they think about what they have been in the past, what they know about the Islamophobia, what they know about the Islam is like. So they just know Islam as what people say, what the other people say, no, Islam is like this. I'm a friend of Islam. So they develop policies and they just worsening Islamophobia like that. And I think that um, uh, what Islam is really is must be shown to people. Everybody, especially in the West, must know what is really Islam. What is Islam? So many governments, so other people will not see Islam as bad, as a terrorist like that. Um, I myself have ever gone to France, and there many people saw me as like, your hijab make you difficult if you did everything here like that. But I think I will do nice to people. I will do nice to people. I will give my kindness. I will give many respect to other people. So they not see me as I am wearing my hijab. They not see me as I am Muslim, but they will see me as human, as a very polite woman like that. My parents always taught me like that. If you go to the West like that, so um, I think the government, some of the government, they develop policies and they worsening Islamophobia like that because they lack of knowledge of Islam, and maybe some people they never face the Muslims uh, instantly like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Madil and Mutiara. So we're gonna next to fourth finalists, Alfi Shahri from Arodatul Hasanah Islamic Boarding School with the title Islam and Secularism. Alfi, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Imagine living freely with no rules. We can do whatever we want, and our life is free of any controls. Imagine living with no limits, far from the principle of religion, as well as doctrines. That seems awful, right? Nah, stop imagining it, because that is what's happening right now. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says in Al-Quran, Al-Ma'idah 3, Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaikum dini wa raditu lakumul Islam dinan. That's why there is a religion as a path of our life and lead us to this right way and not over in action. Islam is the one and only religion to Allah Ta'ala. Amal Fishahri, the fourth grade student of Islamic boarding school Arodatul Hasanah. In this precious time, I would like to talk about Islam and secularism in Palestine. Secularism. Secularism is defined as to free this world from religious doctrines and spirituality, as well to emphasize that religion is personal and there's no correlation with country business. So, how secularism seems like to differ between the theology and science is secularism. A country, a country that is allows marriage with different belief, with different religion, is secularism. Free society is implied as normal amid teenagers is secularism, and many others. There are some factors of secularism appears are religion, thought, psychology, history, and society. And the top of all this is money oriented. See, like an oil and water, religion and secularism will never ever combine to become one. Why? Because it's totally separated from the different. Because it's totally separated and different, and religion has doctrines, religion has rules, limitation, and restrictions. Meanwhile, on the other side, secularism is all about freedom, individualism, and anti-religious. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala orders us in Holy Quran, Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu sallimu inhalu fil silmi kafa. From this beautiful verse, we have to be part of Islam, whole aspect, not just inside, but practically outside. Doing salah, zakah, and other obligation, not to do this and that of Islamic doctrines. According to Western people, Secularism is the thought of gospel, but it's totally wrong. According to Sheikh Muhammad Naqib al-Atas from his book, and Secularism on page 23, secularism is the result of Western people's thought about freedom and rationality on gospel. Right now, secularism is spread the entire world, from the west to east, even to the Islamic country. Let's take a look at Turkey. Let's take a look at Egypt. Let's take a look at our nation, Indonesia, and also Palestine. As we know that Palestinians have been struggling with the colonists attack mosques and schools. Why are they targeting on this? Because both are the most important thing for the youth of Palestine. Mosque, where they can pray, where they can having a connection and interaction with them. And school, where they can study, where they can learn and earn a knowledge and having a communication with each other. Imagine if there's no school where Palestine can earn a knowledge to make their dreams come true. Imagine if there's no mosque where they can pray, where they can having a connection with each other. See, the youth of Palestine are sacrificing to pray in Masjid al-Aqsa, even if they have to be attacked by bomb, weapon, and gun. Because if they give up on this, their belief will become weak. There will be no doing salah, and slowly doctrines and thoughts of secularism easily entered the Palestinian houses, the Palestinian minds, and they will leave Islam. Not only that, from the social aspect, colonists is trying to take control and trying to apply their agenda on Palestine line. Misbehaviors, applying LGBTQ, alcoholic drink, gangsters, and etc. From the politic aspect, they're trying to instill the doctrine of capitalism and rationalism regardless restriction. Secularism is like feeding a baby Coke instead of his mother's milk. I imagine baby as human being, the Coke is secularism, and the mother's milk is religion. The Coke is like secularism. It's addictive and temporarily satisfying because it has a lot of disadvantages for this baby. In fact, the best food for the baby is mother's milk, which means religion that has a lot of advantages and very useful to this baby or human being. Secularism is the doctrine of Western country to defeat Islam through a physical and mental impact. Islam has not been accepting the thought of secularism which separates human's life and religion thought. And for Palestinians, they have been struggling to make their land Palestine free from colonialism and secularism. So what are we waiting for? Let's unite to defend and support for Palestine from utilizing social media as place to donate, using Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to tell to the world that our brothers and sisters are in it. Because the world famous figure Malcolm X says, when I replace with we, even illness becomes wellness. Thanks for your paying attention, and as I see you, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Alfie, for your speech. And next, please the judges give assessment to the first contestant with two scoring form that have been provided. And the duration time is 3 minutes from now. Okay, or all the judges have done to fill the form.
Um,
Yes, we're done.
Okay, as ready. Are you have done, Mr. Madil?
yes. Yes, I'm done.
Okay, we're gonna move into question and answer session. And namely, one of three judges have one question based on Alfie's speech. Time is yours.
All right. Thank you for giving us the floor to ask Alfie regarding your speech. It was interesting to hear you speak regarding Islam and secularism. But bearing in mind that also, you know, the discussions or discourse on ghazul fikr uh, and or the war of thought, but also, you know, the fact that the countries in OIC countries are, you know, very different. We have 57 member states, 56 actually right now, but each have their own, you know, conditions, their own characteristics. And if we correlate it with development as well, then there are so many, you know, notions and discussions on that. Can you clearly hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, it's
All
audible.
right. Yeah. Um, so my question is regarding secularism. What do you think about countries or Muslim majority countries that are diverse, that are multicultural and multi-faith? And your speech is about the Palestinians, right? But how does it correlate with the Palestinians and, you know, the condition of of Indonesia? My question is your perspective on that, in keeping in mind, you know, the Palestinians and Indonesia. I hope you got my question.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat the question because it's not really that clear.
Okay, okay, okay. I hope I'm also audible. So my question is, uh, what do you think about secularism? Uh, you know, in for countries that are diverse, that are multicultural and multi-faith, and Is it still not the way? And how does that connect to your idea about secularism or the ongoing secularism in Palestine? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. Okay, I would like to answer it. So I think in my own, okay, I would like to continue it. So in my own perspective, the way to keeping in mind the Palestine and Indonesia and how to develop it. Um, I think in my own perspective, we have to respect everyone's perspective in advance, um, because we are Indonesia, multicultural country. We have so many cultures from ethnics or languages, and if we compare to Palestine, um, I think the way to instill and develop our solidarity to them is, yeah, utilizing a social media account, um, like TikTok or maybe Instagram, Facebook, even especially for us teenagers who spend time on the screen most of the time. So I think this is a very effective way to um, to support Palestine. And yeah, I think join the community caring for Palestine, and ask many people to join it as well. I think this is one of the best way. Um, and I think to uh, clarify that secularism is can be erased. Um, I think the way is just like the same, because I relate to my own myself, because I'm teenager. So most of the time I spend my time on social media, and yeah, this is, I think this is just the most effective way to utilize social media. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfie.
Thank you, Miss Astrid and Alfie. And next, the last finalist, Lubab Hud from Pesantren Persatuan Islam Bangil, with the title Arab Has Failed Palestinian. Time is yours.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Praise be to Allah, the One and Almighty. Salawat and salam may always be dedicated to our role model, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this wonderful opportunity, I would like to deliver my speech about the Arabs have failed Palestine. But before we move any further, we must propose a question. Did the Arabs really fail Palestine? Because every question must be verified. So to answer this question, we need to look at the facts that are happening. Recently, in 15 September 2020, the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain has just signed a normalization agreement with Israel. And after that, the 23rd of October, the Sudanese government has officially announced that they are willingly to sign a normalization agreement with Israel. So yes, some Arab countries have totally failed Palestine. Why? Because by signing a normalization agreement, this means that they are willingly to open their relationship diplomatically and politically. And by opening their relationship, this means that they are recognizing Israel as an official state. The consequences are that they will ignore and defy the struggle of the Palestinian people to defend their land, to defend their people, to defend their religion mainly. And also, this means that they are justifying the act of colonization and massacre that has been done by Israel for the past few decades. So this is a correct statement. Yes, some Arab countries have totally failed Palestine. So how could we get here, and how could this happen? To understand this, we need to have a comprehensive understanding on the historical facts of the Muslim world and the Western world in general, specifically in the early 20th century. Since the fall of the Caliphate, the Ottoman Empire in 1924, the Muslim Ummah that used to be in a one united government are now separated into many nationalities and countries. So this political condition is totally different because usually when there's a problem in this Muslim Ummah, they will face it and solve it as a united Ummah. But in this current state right now, it's more of a personal and a national struggle. But we cannot defy that, and we cannot deny that there are many coalitions among the Arab and Islamic countries. So this is a very critical condition, and we can see for the Palestinian struggle since 1948, the struggle for Palestine has been done through many ways, from the physical war to the diplomatic and political struggle. In the physical war, there are lots of wars that have been happening, like what happened in 1948, where five Arab coalition country tragically defeat to a newborn country, Israel, and also what happened in the 6-day war, where we actually make the borders much worse for Palestine. So, and in the other hand, the diplomatic and political struggle isn't really giving a significant progress for the Palestinian struggle. From the Oslo Accords in 1993 until the Arab Peace Initiative that is done by the Saudi government, there's not much improvement and progress, because if we compare the Palestinian state in 1948 until now, actually there's no much difference. In fact, it's getting much worse. So these are the historical facts, but we need to find the main reason, because in order to formalize the solution, we need to find the root problems of this ummah. So the Muslim scholars and intellectuals have formalized and analyzed why the ummah is degrading, why this condition of ummah is happening. Mainly there are two reasons, two aspects. The first is internal aspects, and the second is external aspects. In the internal aspects is mainly because of the corruption of knowledge, abandoning the religion, and many other reasons, but mainly these two reasons, and specifically misunderstanding their own religion, which is Islam. And the external reasons are the rise of the Western civilization. Well, this is not a bad thing, but the problem is that at the same time, their ideologies spread across the world through colonization, and such as secularism, liberalism, and nationalism, and many more. And these ideologies have been instilled inside the Muslim society across the world. So to solve all of these problems, this is a very, very major problem. But we as the young generation, what can we do? I mean, like, we as the young generation of the Ummah, what can we take part in? So basically, there are two most vital aspects. The first is the education aspect, and the second is the political and diplomatic struggle. The first aspect, I would really, really want to say that education is a very, very vital aspect. Because if we look back to the history, there is no any civilization that has risen up except they will start from the education aspect. There's a very, very interesting fact that has been found by Dr. Majid Irsan Al-Kilan in his book, هكذا ظهر جيل صلاح الدين. He said that he concluded that the main reason of Salahuddin al-Ayyubi's success on conquering and regaining Jerusalem is because of the role of the Muslim scholars and education of the Muslim intellectuals. Mainly at that time, it was the role of Imam al-Ghazali and Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jailani. So this is how important the education aspect is. The second aspect is a political and diplomatic aspect. We as a young generation must at least join one organization that focuses on this Palestinian struggle. So by organizations, we can do lots of things. For instance, we can sign an agreement with the government, we can do lobbying and many, many other things. So mainly those are the two aspects. Thank you for your attention. I'm sorry. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Lubabhut. And please the judges give assessment to the first contestant with the scoring form that have been provided. And the duration time is 3 minutes from now. Time is yours. Okay. All are the judges have done?
Uh, Hello, Nurul. Yes, Alhamdulillah, I'm done here. Can I have a copy of the speech of the last participants, please? Thank you.
Test, test. Hello? You can
Yes,
repeat.
I'm done with the scoring as well.
How about Mr. Maadil? Are you have done?
Yes, well, I'm done.
Okay. And the scoring time is up. Let's do the next session, question and answer. And only one of three judges have one question based on a Lubab speech. Time is yours. Sorry, judges, can we move the next agenda to question and answer?
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Can I go?
Yes, you can, Mr.
Okay. So it's quite interesting. From uh, a young leader like you was able to come up with the idea of to focus your speech and research on the relationship of Arab, not just to Palestine but also to other Muslim countries. Now, um, as young as you are today, like you already because you have mentioned in your speech, many subjects, many situation, you identify many situation that why Arab is fail Palestinian, right? Now, my question is, if you are given a chance to develop or to contribute as young leader and part of the policymakers who sit with them, what policy would you develop to address the failure, like you said, failure of Arab to Palestine specific to your speech? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for your question. It's kind of a big question. So, if I were chosen to be one of the policymakers, what kind of policy? This means like not in Indonesia, right? Like in one of the international policymakers, or
Yes.
okay, okay. So what I think is that mainly why the Arab countries or the Muslim countries uh, can't make a policy that is very firm and very directly helping the Palestinian is because most of the Arab countries do not have political power. And this political power comes from economic power, comes from society power, comes from what do you call it? The army power, the intelligence power, and all those kinds of power. So right now, what we can see is that most of the countries that decide the policy in UN, for instance, or decide the policy for countries is because they have the economic power, they have the political power to decide policies. For instance, like what the Turkish government did to have an what do you call it? Have an to make to make a stand against the U.S. And then what the U.S. did was uh, striking them economically, and this is very, very effective. And it makes the policy of the Arab countries very, very likely to change with these economic strikes, with these uh, the society strikes. So what I'm saying here is if we want to make a very good policy, first and foremost, what we have to do is have a very firm country with a very strong political power. That is what I would like to address first, because once we have a political power, we can decide uh, very freely and not depending on other countries' decision for the economic and everything. So once that is done, we can make a very strong decision. And if I have decided to have a strong political country and I was chosen to make the policies, then of course the aim is to make a very strong coalition with the countries, not only Muslim countries, but other countries that are also against the Israel colonization. So with these coalition of many countries, we will have a political power to bring the United Nations and finally resolve this conflict. But we also have to consider the policies on education, the policies on economic, and because education and economic, these policies will actually affect in a long-term effect on the Palestinian struggle. So those are the main two: coalition and education policies. So that's all my perspective. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Lubab and Mr. Maradil. And thanks for all the judges and also all the finalists for already follow the competition again today, who have given us big support and help to run our program for today successfully. And I would like to say thank you to our media partner, RTC UEFM and UNAS TV. And again, thank you all for your presence. And last word, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
And for all the participants, don't leave the meeting room before and kindly to open your camera for photo session. Oh yeah, I want to give the information. The final round will be held at 8 November, and for more information will be updated later. Okay, let's open the camera. 1, 2, 3. Once again, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, thank you for all. And for all the participants, you're allowed to leave meeting room. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all the educator. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.